One of my favorite songs is La Viquina, written by Rubén Fuentes Gasson in 1964. There are two versions of the story of this song. According to one of the most important last decades composers, the lyric was written after a beach travel where his son told him that the girls who were wearing bikini should be called bikinas. However, there is another version inspired in a story of the Mexican folklore in Los Cristeros times. The Cristeros War is a heartbreaking scene in Mexico history, and is about a terrible civil slaughter and dishonored American participation, where the Catholic community raised in arms against the government in the 20s in order to defend freedom of worship. In the 20th century, Plutarco Elias Calles ruled the Mexican United States and was also called as the maximum chief of revolution. La Viquina is one of the most beautiful songs of the Mexican folklore. Everybody agrees that this arrangement of the mysterious legend is inspired in the sad life of a woman who was abandoned by their parents since she was born, and she suffered sexual abuse from a captain called Humberto Ruiz. The Mexican story takes place in Jalisco State, a village bounded between what is called as Los Altos, according to Luis Miguel's site. It begins in a stormy night when a farmer followed a meteorite trace and found a newborn abandoned. He picked her up and took her to his humble hovel. The little girl was attended by his wife who nicely breastfed her. The wife was recently mother 2 months ago. Pedro, the farmer, went to the priest Gonzalo and told him what has just happened because he wanted an advice in order to solve the situation. In this way, the priest talked to the whole town what had just happened that night, but there was no answer. They decided to leave the girl in the Navy with Carmelitas nuns. The baby raised between nuns, and her beauty was astonishing among the village. Her blue eyes were so bright compared with the deep black of her hair. She was baptized as Carmela. Over time, the peaceful town transformed into a war zone caused by the troubles between the church and the state in 1925, when the President Calles took the power and changed the girl's life. The army got into the abbey and killed the chief nun. Carmela, with nowhere to run, was taken by the captain Humberto Ruiz for over 17 years without knowing life and suffering abuses, without understanding what was happening in that moment. Her only wish was to die before continuing that way, and as a personal defense, she stayed deathless. The first thing La Viquina saw after waking up was the eyes of Humberto Ruiz. She tried to stand, but he didn't let that happen. He brought water and cleaned her face with a kerchief. There passed too many moons, and the captain became nice with her. However, they didn't talk each other after trying to break silence. After 3 seasons, he took her to a nice place. He kissed her hands and crying, he apologized to her, leaving her alone forever. With the time, she walked for too many towns and started doing domestic works. No man could ever get closer to her because her reaction was like a lion in every situation. The Mexican legend says that she saw the captain again, and in that occasion she smiled. She didn't say anything, but she accepted to walk same way. Finally, a lovely night, and by the morning, La Viquina went out the place, and she climbed the mountain, and as the last star in the night, she was lost in the sky. These songs represents too much for me. It was one of the first songs I started playing since I was a child. I was in La Estudiantina, which is a middle school music group, and we won a contest participating with this song. I played the guitar in that contest, and I will always remember that moment. It was the first time I played in front of a theater full of people, and I really liked that sensation. Since that moment, that song began a part of my life. I use it to play with my family because this song also has a lovely meaning. This song is also sung by one of my favorite artists, which is Luis Miguel. I believe he is one of the most important singers of Mexico, although he is not Mexican.